I am absolutely in love with what came in the mail yesterday for me. My copy of Obojima, Tales from the Tall Grass, came in the mail, and I'm already freaking falling for this freaking setting. It's great. 1985 Games absolutely knocked it out of the park with this one. It was a Kickstarter they did. They made over $2 million on it, and the evidence is clear as to why. It is a beautiful setting set on an island where first age technology, your like 1980s ish to 1990s technology, meets a fantasy world, a nice, concise, Ghibli esque world where the stakes can be low, but also the role playing and the adventure can be high sometimes. It's just the perfect amount of everything you want to keep your blood pressure down, but also when you want to talk to some spirits and make some interesting friends. This is a tome of art and character, and I absolutely recommend anyone check it out that can. Definitely support 1985 games. Let's get into why I'm in love with this setting. If you love Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, if you like Stardew Valley, if you like anything having to do with Princess Mononoke or Spirited Away or any of the other amazing Ghibli movies, this book is probably something that you're going to fall in love with, whether a player or a DM. Who doesn't want to play in a world where you have little spirits like this wandering around? Come on, this is great stuff. I'm not going to show too much of the book because I want people to buy it, but there's some things in here I just can't help but give you a little glimpse of. One of the smart things they do in this book is they break down the cosmology of D&D and throw that to the side and say, we're going to keep it simple for the sake of beauty, which is to say there is the spirit world and there is the prime material world, and that's it. But as in many beautiful stories about spirit worlds and the overlay with our world, there's just the little details. The gates you use to get there are described as ethereal, incredibly beautiful planes of existence. Or they have these wonderful renderings of like walkways that can lead you to a mysterious land beyond. And there's just something about it that evokes a sense of wonder. You feel like you're a teenager walking down a windy road alone with your backpack on, and then suddenly mysterious and strange things start to happen. And as I mentioned before, it's this perfect mix of that early age technology where you have like the first generations of handheld games and vending machines and bicycles just scattered across this magical, mysterious land. One of my favorite parts is they talk about how vending machines are something that are in the world scattered about, and witches, enterprisingly, wizards and witches will try to fill the vending machines to make a little extra monies, but they'll leave a spirit to guard the vending machines from thieves that might want to steal the stuff inside. There's this fun type of hook that they do for their adventures where it's like explore a rundown and abandoned little goodie mart. And it's a little spooky, but also kind of a fun kids on bikes style adventure that I really like. It's very fun to have a fantasy world where the old age technology that you find in ancient ruins when you go spelunking are things like floppy disks and little tiny vinyl records and the like. There's just something about it where you could spend hours with your players just exploring shops and checking places out. This is one of my favorite pictures right here, where it's just a girl chilling in her shop with her cat friend, maybe familiar, who knows. The items and potions appendices in this game are also incredibly well done. You have little snippets here where it's just all these items that are whimsical and fun. You have the living spud, all these things. They're just interesting, and you look at them and you're like, what's the combat capacity? What's the utility or whimsy levels they discuss? The lore in this setting is just so fun and kind of refreshing in the sense that, again, it's not a game where you have to do combat. In fact, they endorse that role playing, helping people, bartering, doing favors, fleeing from great spirits at times might be the solution. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just how you tell the tale. Another way that this book absolutely blew me away was with the amount of detail and just brimming with flavor. They gave all the subclasses that they put in this book. There are things like the College of Masks for Bards, which are just beautiful. They have like a wonderfully Eastern vibe to them. The ability to put on a mask and gain different abilities. That person wandering around, that adventurer that has a bunch of wooden and metal masks clattering on their belts is just so evocative. One of my favorite ones, one I intend to try and play if I can get someone to run a game where I get to play, is the Circle of the Petal, where the druids are just absolute masters of flowers and growth. I feel like there's just so much fun to be had there. If you want to go for a vibe where you're channeling like your inner kid with a bunch of gadgets trying to save the day, they have an awesome one here, which is the Spirit Fused Fighter, where they have a bunch of like classic childhood items and cool trinkets you'd find in your garage, and the way they use them to make them into weapons or do cool stuff is just very fun and kind of utilitarian. Another honorable mention for the subclasses, and then I'll move on, is the Origami Mage. Is such a great idea to have somebody that's a mage that just makes little folded up pieces of paper, and then with a flick of their wrist and a whisper of an arcane incantation, they make things happen, whether it's summons, elemental effects, and so on. There's just something so fun to me, too, about the idea of being a kid, playing this game, and having a sword on your back, a cool bomber jacket on, and having, like, an origami little spirit following you around, and you're taking pictures of the scenery with your old school Polaroid camera. The whole thing just screams adventure, but adventure in the wonderment sense, not in the I have to be the hero of legend sense. Another place this book really, really shines is the potion brewing. It is so fun. They put a lot of detail and a lot of emphasis into gathering up certain things, because sometimes an adventure could be something as simple as find these 4 ingredients and make this potion for me. Like that, sometimes that's all an adventure is. They talk about in one of the podcasts, which I highly recommend checking out, Obojima's podcast. They do this thing where they just record themselves in the writer's room when they were first writing this book. And they talk about one of the adventures could be just a kid putting a flying potion and pouring it over the spokes of his bike. And now he can fly his bike around as he's following the flying jellyfish that migrate across the island. And just look at this artwork. Like, I mean, look at those derpy frickin' pixies. That it's just peak Ghibli Adventure Time vibes. And I just can't get enough of it. I'm going to show one picture of just like a little snippet of what the potions look like. The artists went off with these potions. Look at how beautiful and well thought out the shape and style of these potions are. I mean, you just can't beat this stuff. And here's the kicker. These pages, there are literally dozens of them. Tons of potions. I want to use every last one of these in the game eventually. So let's wrap it up, shall we? This Obojima setting is worth exploring. And this company put every bit of their heart into making this book. And I think that deserves to be rewarded, because not only does it mean I get to enjoy it, but on top of that, I want them to be paid off and appreciated for doing something that is going to provide incredible adventures for people and in a very unique and fun way. It may be a little bit niche. It may be a little bit low stakes for some people, but I think there's something to be said about having a game where you can sit down with 4 or 5 friends and just have a nice low blood pressure adventure. I mean, what's to say you can't have an adventure where you just wander around and, oh no, a cat of prodigious size is sleeping in the town square and we got a festival coming up. What do we do? Or you could have an adventure where you just have a mass swarm of acorn crabs have washed up on shore and are just ruining the local farming village. Maybe the local witch is having a tough time. She can't get any sleep because she has a demon pestering her all the time. And she needs to help people, but she's just so worn out. It's perfect. This book is absolutely perfect. And I highly recommend everyone check it out. Give them the thanks and the love they deserve. Because I'm going to be talking about this book for a long time. And I'm going to be hopefully using it for a long time. Thank you, 1985 Games. And for those of you that watched this whole ding-dang video, thank you for watching. Happy tabletops.